All right, YouTube universe, what's up? I'm Eric. This is Jeff. We're going to do week 1 predictions. Number 1 game, Thursday Night Football. Baltimore traveling to Denver to take on Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos. Thoughts on that game?
Good Lord. Is the NFL want Baltimore to die? I mean, they hang up big pictures of Joe Flacco in Denver's home stadium. Yeah, I don't think Denver should have beat them last year. I don't think Baltimore rather should have even won the Super Bowl. So I don't think they have a chance in this game at all.
Well, they lost pretty much all the quality pieces they had when they won the Super Bowl. You lost your spiritual and motivational leader in Ray Lewis. Ed Reed, ball hawking safety, now is in a competing team.
Their entire linebacking core is gone.
Donnell Ellerbe. That guy was supposed to be like the incumbent guy.
I don't care who your coach is. If you don't have the talent, you can't win the game. Pissing off Peyton Manning is not a really good way to go. John Fox is a hell of a coach. So Elvis Dumervil is on the other team now, and Von Miller's missing, but I just don't see that as being a difference maker. I think Denver wins this going away. I think 17 to 20 point victory in this game. I don't see Baltimore even having a chance.
I agree. In fact, I'd be surprised if Baltimore actually won more than 5 games this year. Sorry, Baltimore fans, but you guys.
Joe Flacco in the regular season, he was pedestrian.
120. He won no $120 million.
If you take his postseason and what he was able to do, and I guess if your quarterback's going to turn it on when you get to the postseason like that and win your Super Bowl is great, but I just don't. That's magic in a bottle, and I don't think they can ever recapture it.
He's kind of like a poor man's Eli Manning.
He really is, yeah. I mean, he's a good quarterback,
but he's a rich man's Eli Manning at the same time.
He's actually richer than Eli Manning. He's actually richer than Peyton Manning, but Peyton Manning's got a couple contracts like that. So.
Yeah, that's true. Next game on the docket, we got New England. Tom Brady led Patriots heading to Buffalo, and the E.J. Manuel led
the E.J. Manuel project. Well, it's better than the Jeff Toole experiment.
But Jeff Toole's who we get if E.J. Manuel can't go. He's still nursing an injury.
They said today he's starting. E.J. Manuel's going. He's been practicing, so it's going to be the E.J. Manuel project.
Yeah, throw him in the fire. Why not, right?
You got a college coach from Syracuse. Wow. I think Syracuse hasn't had a really good football team for like 20 years.
I think McNabb was the last good quarterback they had.
And so, but this guy took Syracuse to a bowl game this year.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. A lot of people are pissing on Tom Brady because he didn't have weapons per se. But I remember there's been a couple years where Tom Brady hasn't had. Rashay Caldwell was his number 1 receiver one year. Big old dish eyes.
Yeah, and I think he was a Down syndrome kid.
But he blew up. He had a great year. And I think Tom Brady makes receivers. So
yeah, he does.
I'm not worried about the Patriots.
I would agree with you, but Danny Amendola's got a groin.
He's always going to have something.
Yeah, but he's got a groin and he might not even go. So if Danny Amendola doesn't go and you don't have a reliable tight end, Sudfeldy's a 1-year guy. You can't teach the Bill Belichick, Tom Brady system in one training camp. We know that. They're going to ground and pound this. They're still going to win the game. I just don't think it's going to be, because like toward the end of last season, I had Tom Brady in my fantasy team and he a couple of times only put up 10, 11 points. I just think they're going to ground and pound, and I think Bill Belichick can pull out a win really from any hat. I think the running game is where he's going to have to pull it out from. I think this is going to be 2 running games. I think C.J. Spiller is going to run it 100 times. Like they said, they're going to run him until he pukes. I think they're going to test that theory.
Well, but at the same time, the Patriots were the number 1 rushing team in the NFL last year, so they're not afraid to run the ball. And they got some talented running backs there, but I think because of that, Tom Brady's going to have a lot of success with his young, no-name receivers.
As long as they run the right routes and stuff, that's where it's not going to be Tom. Is Tom Brady capable of doing it? Are the guys going to be where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be? Because he is a timing quarterback. They need to be exactly where they're supposed to be because he throws it blind. He throws it to where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
That can spell danger if
he doesn't have a lot of options, though. He doesn't have a lot of options.
It's true. But yeah, New England going into Buffalo, I don't see it turning out any other way than New England.
New England wins. I agree with that. All right, next team. Seattle Seahawks headed to Carolina to face Cam Newton.
Now, see, this game here has one of the elements that Seattle is known for failing at. And they did it last year even when they were good, and they're good this year. but it's the early game. It's an East Coast game. And I think, I don't have stats, but I think they've won 1 out of 100.
Yeah, they can't travel much further than Carolina from where Seattle is.
They don't play a whole lot of Cam Newton style quarterbacks. I mean,
well, they have a Cam Newton style quarterback in Russell Wilson. He's a guy that can run the ball. He could run out of the pocket, run the option plays, and the defense has got the mentality that they're going to hit you in the mouth.
That's where Seattle's really. I mean, as long as the defense doesn't, that defense has a potential for biting off more than they can chew mouth wise. If they overtalk themselves, if they think too highly of themselves, they could get embarrassed if they play the way they're designed to play and the way they can play. It's hard to keep up with them.
I agree. They are a young football team, so ego is going to play a part. But I think Pete Carroll's done a good job of building that team from a lot of really no-name guys.
We're going to see really. This is a really good test for Seattle because they didn't win well on the road at all last year. They struggled on the road. They're unbeatable at home. It's the toughest stadium in the NFL to play in. Every team regrets going in there. They just dread it. And for a reason. You can't hear. Yep. The fans are ferocious.
You can't take the 12th man with you, though.
This is going to be that's true. This is going to be a great test for them because they're playing against their nemesis. And they might just be young enough and have just enough ego to ignore the past, which I think every team should do. And it's the first game of the season, so you can't tell me that traveling's tough because you're not
fresh.
Yeah, you're fresh. I mean, it's the first game, so I don't think it has anything to do with it. I think Seattle's going to shut them down. Really,
yeah, I think Seattle wins in a rout.
If Carolina scores more than 13 points, I'd be surprised.
As would I. Yeah, I think Seattle wins in a rout. I think their defense is going to do. They're going to be as advertised, and I think their offense is probably going to score 30-plus points.
I see something like 33-13.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. I don't think it's going to be much of a match, and I think it's going to be a really good kickoff for Seattle. They got some tough competition in week 2. They got to face San Francisco.
Well, now all of a sudden it's the toughest division in football.
Absolutely, and San Francisco doesn't think Seattle can beat them, of course, and Seattle thinks that it can beat San Francisco twice, and they're going to find out in week 2.
I can't wait for that.
That's
game.
Clash of the Titans.
That's going to be a good one.
It's really amazing how far that division is coming, how fast it's coming.
Yeah, and you can't sleep on Arizona or St. Louis. Those are vastly improved. Carson Palmer.
St. Louis beat the 49ers and tied them. Yeah, and they beat the Seahawks.
It's just one of those things. It's an interdivisional matchup, and that's a tough division. Next game on the docket, Andy Dalton, Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Jay Cutler, face him in Soldier Field, Chicago Bears.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what.
That's going to be a good game.
It's really that is a black and blue game, and but one thing that I think is really going to come out here is, and if they say Jay Cutler's changed a little bit, I don't know. When you start popping Jay Cutler, he gets a little friggin' dancy in his pantsy.
Well, that's the problem, though, is he gets nothing but pop. The offensive line can't protect him. I mean, his offensive line is Brandon Marshall.
Going up
3-step drop, get rid of the ball, Brandon Marshall's there.
Going up against Geno Atkins. And Cincinnati has one of the best defenses. I think last year they might have had the most sacks.
My prediction, they're going to lead the NFL in turnovers.
And they might. That's a great defense. Those guys are all ball hawking. The offense, you got A.J. Smith. Unfortunately, Hawkins is on IR, destined to return. So he was kind of an explosive little weapon, kind of like a Wes Welker.
Yeah, slot guy.
But they got Samanu or whatever his name is.
We got Giovanni Bernard in the backfield with Law Firm. Andy Dalton's
and that's a good changeup. That's a really good changeup because one of them's a bruiser and the other one, is ball security. He doesn't fumble.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a platoon there because last year Law Firm underperformed. The Andy Dalton, AJ Green connection is going to be good for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
So that's you don't even need to think about that. I think
they got 2 decent tight ends. Now they got Tyler Eifert and of course they got
Gresham.
Jermaine Gresham.
So I think
there's enough horsepower there, and Andy Dalton's growing into himself. Red Rifle.
He's surrounded with some talent there and a good coaching staff. So I don't think they're going to make him do. They're not going to give him too much to do. He's a game manager at this point, but I think he's not going to turn the ball over. He's going to protect the ball, and I think with good defensive play, they're going to win this game.
Well, they're going to have great defensive play, for one. I mean, they're just going to be all over Jay Cutler. That's going to frustrate him. He's going to be yelling at his offensive line all night. You know, yeah, you got Brandon Marshall, and he can catch 100 balls. The problem is they got a really good secondary. They can blanket that guy. And now who's he got to go to? He's got a mediocre. I mean, Martellus Bennett is not even that good of a tight end, and he's hurt. So now who? Matt Forte can catch balls out of the backfield. He's a utility guy. You know, Michael Bush is a bruiser. He can bang it in when they get to the goal line, but they got to get to the goal line. And I'm just not convinced that you know, this guy that's coming down from the Canadian Football League. I know he's used to teaching offense.
Yeah.
But really, how much defense have they taught?
Well, if you look at Canadian football game, they're always high scoring.
Yeah, because
your wide receivers get a head start.
It's three downs, and it's all about the offense. And
it's like arena league kind of.
I think, you know, not re-signing Brian Urlacher is a huge mistake because of the presence that he had in the locker room.
Yes, he's a coach on the field.
You know, Tillman's getting old, and just I think that's an aging defense, and I really think we're going to see that more so than any of the other defenses in the NFL. I think we're going to see a sharp decline in the Chicago Bears defense.
Although you've got two of the top 5 receivers in the entire league facing off in this game, I really think it's going to come down to who's got the better running game.
Yeah,
as far as offense goes.
And to me, that's Cincinnati.
I agree. Next game on the docket: Miami Dolphins versus Cleveland Browns. Now, at a glance, this looks like a pillow fight. But these are two defenses that improved. They've improved a lot.
And there's a lot of talk about don't sleep on Cleveland's offense. Brandon Weeden. And, you know, you got this, their new tight end.
Cameron Jordan. Yeah, I'm really high on that kid. Guy. No, he's a rookie.
Is he a rookie this year?
I'm high on that kid. Josh Gordon has been doing good things there.
Yeah, he's suspended though, isn't he?
I don't know. I'd have to research that.
I think Josh Gordon's suspended for the first 2 games, but you got Greg Little. You know, you've got Trent Richardson.
Yeah, they've got a great offensive line there.
He's going to be used really heavily, and Miami last year was really, really stingy in the ground game, and they're going to have to be this time because I think they're going to get a heavy dose of Trent Richardson. This is a dogfight.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not really a pillow fight. I think, you know, Miami's got Mike Wallace. They're going to try to have that over the top air game, but you've got a couple of defensive backs. Joe Hayden's back there. You've got a couple of defensive backs in Cleveland that you know, and you got DeQuell Jackson roaming the middle.
You've got 2 underrated defenses that are
tackles a year.
The rookie Deion Jordan for Miami. He's projected to do big things there. And on the other side of the ball, you got Lamar Miller, their rookie running back, who's projected to do big things. So I think that's going to – both of those aspects are going to alleviate a lot of these young quarterbacks. So in this game, I want to give the edge to Cleveland only because they're at home.
They're at home.
But they're really a mirror image team to me.
Yeah, they are. They're real similar at a lot of the positions. I don't know. I mean, Cleveland's offensive line, you got Joe Thomas.
Anchor.
I mean, he's a huge anchor. He's a Hall of Famer. He's going to be a Hall of Fame offensive lineman. You know, Brandon Weeden is an older quarterback. He's only in his second year.
But he's going to, what, 30?
He's going to be 30 years old, which really means he's got a level head. I mean, he doesn't have that antsy and the pantsy thing going on. I think if he cuts down on the turnovers, he's going to be decent. This is a hard game. I see like 20-21.
Yeah, it's a toss-up.
21-20, and
it might come down to a field goal. It might come down to a field goal, but I'm going to take Cleveland just because they're the home team.
One of the biggest things, Cleveland let go of one of the Phil Dawson. How do you let that guy go?
I don't know.
I mean, they've had 3 kickers in 40 years. Cleveland has.
That's crazy.
They let go of Phil Dawson. Now he's out kicking in San Francisco, and I think he's going to kick them right into regret. You know, they're going to cycle through 3 or 4 kickers this year. Mm-hmm. And this game might prove to be one of the regrets.
They're going to need him. Yep. It's going to come down. It's going to be a close game. Lower scoring, I think, but it's going to be a close one. But I give the edge to Cleveland. Next game on the docket, we've got Adrian Peterson traveling to Detroit. I say Adrian Peterson because that's all the Vikings have. They don't have anybody else.
They went to the playoffs last year.
They did. But you lost Percy Harvin to Seattle, who got hurt. But
you get Greg Jennings back.
Greg Jennings, yeah, but he's not. I think Aaron Rodgers made Greg Jennings. Brett Favre made Greg Jennings. You throw Christian Ponder in the mix, I think he's a pedestrian receiver. I do.
Yeah, he's not one of those dynamic playmakers that gets, a ton of yards after catch. He's not flashy, but maybe we'll see something. Maybe he'll prove all of us wrong there. What I see with Minnesota's really good defense, but they're on the road.
They're older too.
Detroit's a hard place to play.
Oh,
it's loud in
Detroit
there.
plays in track meets. They'll give up points, but they'll score a ton of points.
And their defense should be improved this year. I mean, I think Detroit's going to win this game, and I think they're going to win it by 10.
I think they're going to win it in a rout. I think the Matt Stafford Megatron connection is going to be in full force. I think the addition of Reggie Bush is going to play a huge factor for the Lions this year, catching the ball out of the backfield.
Megatron got tackled on the 1 yard line like 6 times last year.
I know.
And
Joe Fantasy
and actually,
owners
the
nuts.
first 3 or 4 games, he didn't have that really good of games. So I think we're going to see him more like he was at the end of the season to start with. I think he's shooting for 2,000, 2,500 yards.
Oh yeah. And he could do it. He could do it. So Detroit in a rout.
Yeah, Stafford's going to throw the ball 600 times.
Yeah, Detroit in a rout. Next game on the docket, Oakland Raiders traveling into Indianapolis. Okay, so
this would be an embarrassment if it was at the Black Hole. The Tavon, what's his name? Tavon Price? Is that his name?
No, it's Terrell Pryor.
Terrell Pryor. I was thinking of Tavon Austin, but okay. So the Terrell Pryor experiment. Matt Flynn, how bad is this guy?
Well, this guy goes to every team just to be a backup, apparently.
Well, he was kind of touted in Green Bay. He had that one game. It was like week 15. He came in for Aaron Rodgers.
6 touchdowns.
6 touchdowns, like 500 yards passing. And everybody's like, wow, where's this guy been?
It was like playing a game of Madden. It really was.
You trade him to Seattle because they need a quarterback.
Backup. And
the guy can't beat out Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Which, turns out to be not a bad thing for Seattle. But
who knows?
At the beginning of the season, you're thinking, wait, this guy couldn't beat out a third-round draft pick? Now he goes down to Oakland, and he can't even beat out an undrafted player that was a supplemental.
Yeah, Oakland is like where players go to die these days. I think they're still trying to recover from Al Davis's latter years. I think them letting Carson Palmer go was a mistake.
They had $40 million in dead cap. $40 million. That's $40 million that's counting toward their cap. That those players aren't even with the team. Jamarcus Russell, all those terrible
Hayward
Bay, all that stuff. And so the regime coming in, they've got an uphill battle.
The actual one player that they drafted that I said, hey, that was a great draft pick, Rolando McClain, retired, 25 years old.
And see, that's just one of those things that happens to the Raiders. They're as close to an expansion team as you can get.
Yeah.
That's really all they can afford. They can't afford good players.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have to suffer through this. Unfortunately, by the time they get decent, their best player is going to be ready to retire.
Yeah. So, but hang in there, Oakland.
Yeah,
you'll come around eventually.
Hopefully, the running back's going to. At least
Darren McFadden.
McFadden's good, and he's healthy, so maybe he won't be after this game. But
we'll see. We'll see. So yeah, Andrew Luck in Indianapolis rolls. I think Oakland is going to be one of the teams vying for the first overall draft pick.
Yeah, I had to get rid of Jamarcus Russell, my fantasy team, or not Jamarcus Russell, but Seabass, and he's got a calf injury. Didn't practice this week. And he's probably one of the things that guarantees him some points.
Yeah.
I just don't think if you
can make it to the 40,
if he's nursing a sore leg, and
which is a big deal for a kicker.
Yeah. So I had to drop him. So that drops him even further. So they don't have a chance.
Indy wins that game.
I think Indianapolis' defense is going to score 15 points in fantasy.
Yeah, it's possible. All right. So next game on the docket, my beloved Kansas City Chiefs.
The Chiefs
travel to Florida to face the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah. Well, and Kansas City hasn't had a lot of luck in Florida. Over the years.
They haven't had a lot of luck anywhere in the last couple of years.
Unfortunately for Jacksonville, I don't think luck has anything to do with it this week. Andy Reid's an outstanding coach. Whatever was going on in Philadelphia, I think it was just time.
He just needed a fresh start.
It's just time. They weren't listening to his message anymore, and I'm not sure who was in charge. Maybe he was in charge of all those dream team picks. Nnamdi Asamoah barely made the 49ers.
Barely.
Third cornerback.
3, yeah.
And they paid him huge money, like $80-90 million. And I was sad that Dallas didn't vie for him more. And now I'm like,
hindsight is 20/20.
that would have just been one of the others. Another thing that happened to Jerry Jones is he goes big for Nam Diasma and everybody hails him, and then all of a sudden the guy turns out to have a diaper the entire time.
Well, Blaine Gabbert is nursing a thumb injury. They're saying he's a game time decision. Yeah. So you might be seeing Chad Henne out there, but. Really,
I
to me,
Chad
I don't think
Henne's
it's
an upgrade.
Well, I don't think it's going to matter, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think Kansas City wins that game and wins it handily.
You're going to turn them into a one-dimensional team, and it's going to be MJD and
MJD.
Once you get sick and tired of that, you're going to if you dare Blaine Gabbert to beat you, who's he throwing to?
He's going to throw to Brandon Flowers.
Blackman's out
for 4 weeks. Yeah, he's suspended.
You got Cecil Shorts. You can cover him.
Mm-hmm.
Who else you got? You got Mercedes Lewis is injured again. He didn't practice this week. I just don't know what's going on in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think Kansas City is going to win that game handily, and in fact, I think Kansas City is going to be the most improved team.
Yeah, and
this year.
Kansas City going into this game it's really they only won 2 games last year,
which is superb. But they had 6 Pro Bowlers. That's
so what's going on?
It's littered with talent.
Well,
but
I mean, you got
to be coaching.
You got a player committing murder suicide in a parking lot. You've got a regime that was on its way out. You could clearly see that even halfway through the season. I think the team just kind of gave up. The fans were wearing black. I mean, there was just a lot of turmoil going on, and it just shows you that an NFL team is prone to that kind of stuff, and any team is prone to that kind of stuff. Your fan base turns on you, and to have the Kansas City loyal fan base wear black.
I never wore black.
And then to have to get rid of a guy like Scott Pioli. I mean,
that I still to this day, because Scott Pioli did a good job of loading that roster with talent. He just made poor coaching decisions. Romeo Crennel, one of the best defensive minds in football, not a head coach. No. He's not. He never will be.
He's a lot like Dave Wannstedt, Norv Turner. Great position coaches, coordinators. They don't have the charisma.
They can't run it. He's just too soft.
But Andy Reid is a dynamic coach, and I think what he's going to do in Kansas City, I don't know that they can do it this year, but next year, when Peyton Manning's another year older and Champ Bailey's not playing anymore, and some other things are happening in Denver.
Denver's the only team that
Wes Welker's getting older. I think next year Kansas City's really going to vie for that title. They might push for it this year. I just don't think they can get past Denver.
Denver's actually my Super Bowl pick. And it pains me to say that, but I have them going and representing the AFC.
And I don't mind Denver so much now that Peyton Manning's there, because I'm really a fan of that guy, and I'm a fan of John Elway, and I'm a fan of John Fox.
They've got a good organization there, but. So, Kansas City in a rout?
Yeah, Kansas City running away, just all afternoon.
Okay. Next game might be the game of the week.
Oh, man.
You've got the natural. You got the natural.
Wait to see this game.
Traveling to New Orleans to face Drew Brees and the Saints. Now, talk about the Saints for a second. You've got Rob Ryan as their defensive coordinator, and you got Sean Payton back.
Oh, man. Having Sean Payton back is everything. Everything to them. Now, it's opening day. It's in the Superdome. Probably the second toughest place to play, and second not by much to Seattle. Loud. They're going to be partying down there.
Passionate fans.
Drew Brees has got the monkey off his back. He doesn't have to represent the entire franchise anymore. Sean Payton's back at the helm.
Everybody's healthy.
And Sean Payton makes a huge difference to that team.
He does.
He is a mastermind at calling plays. He's a mastermind at motivating that team.
Now, dead last in the NFL in defense, New Orleans Saints was. How much are they going to improve?
Dead last with a guy like Steve Spagnuolo as the coach. This is a Super Bowl winning coach from the Giants. That his stint in the Giants and what they did on defense earned him a starting head coaching job in St. Louis.
I think that wasn't so much Spagnuolo's fault as it was just the media turmoil surrounding that team with the bounty scandal that they had going on. But they could put all that behind them now.
It was tough, but they didn't have the players either. And I don't think Rex Ryan, I heard on one of the talk shows that it takes, 18 months to learn Rex Ryan's.
Rob Ryan. The twin.
Yeah, the twins. This guy hasn't really done it wherever he's gone. They didn't have great defense in Oakland when he was there. They didn't have great defense in Cleveland when he was there. And last year he went to Dallas and and had Maurice Claiborne and Brandon Carr and DeMarcus Ware and Sean Lee and a host of Jay Ratliff.
She had injuries too.
Yeah, had a lot of injuries,
lost some key players.
But he takes a lot of chances, and maybe he doesn't necessarily have the players that he needs, but he still takes those chances. Now, it didn't work out last year in Dallas because they didn't really have that. Their offense just wasn't clicking. The offensive line sucked. This year, though, he's got an offense. He's got an offense that's going to put 35 points on. He can take those chances.
Mm-hmm.
Vilma's hurt. Hopefully, he can come back. I just don't think it's going to happen in week 1.
Well, and another thing is Matty Ice owns in the Superdome. I don't know what it is. It's just like Eli Manning and Cowboy Stadium. These guys go to those places
and they just own.
And they hang 350 yards and like 3 touchdowns on the opposing defense.
This one's
the hometown defense.
This one's hard to pick. New Orleans' defense isn't going to shut down Atlanta by any stretch of the imagination.
Defense is.
But can Atlanta's defense do anything to stop it? New Orleans.
New Orleans, by the way, also representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. That's my pick. So Broncos, New Orleans.
I want to say New Orleans is going to win this game, but it's going to be something like 38-35.
It's going to be a track
41-38.
It's going to be a track meet, but I got New Orleans winning that game too.
Yeah, I'm going to take New Orleans in that one just because there's something magic that happens in the Superdome, and I think that they're going to do it. I just don't think you're going to see a lot of defense. I don't think you're going to see Rob Ryan's defense do much of anything.
Yeah. It comes down to home field advantage and
but New Orleans is not out of any game because they got Drew Brees.
Exactly. The next game, Tampa Bay heading to the New York Jets. The New York Jets are a professional football team from right here, so we do have to talk about them.
From what I understand, yeah.
They are going to be in a pillow fight with the Oakland Raiders for the first overall draft pick, I think. And no offense.
What are they going to do with it? Are they going to pick a quarterback?
Well, they should. They should, because they still don't have one.
Geno Smith. I don't know if this is this guy's fault or not. I mean, so 3 interceptions and you run out of the back of the end zone.
For a safety.
When's
the last time that's ever been done?
Maybe by accident.
I don't recall that. I can't remember in recent memory that's ever happened.
And they got on Rex Ryan for cut down week. He went down to watch his son play football.
Well,
in opening.
Rex Ryan's already mentally done. He's dusted off his resume. He's ready to move on, I think.
I think
this year he just going through the motions.
You'd almost think that he's got to be. It's just too much there. And I don't know that anybody can survive there, but it's a shit show. They've actually got not a bad defense, but they don't have anything for offense.
They got no help on offense. Their defense is going to be on the field the entire game.
When you talk about an NFL team and you think, okay, well, how could you be so inept as to not even have an offense? But this team really doesn't have an offense. They've got Chris Ivory and Bilal Powell. I mean, you've got a couple of really good offensive linemen.
Very good offensive linemen, but
you've got nothing back at quarterback. You've got ineptitude back there. You got inexperience.
Your receiver.
Who's your receiver?
Stephen Hill, I guess, is going to be their go-to guy.
Jeremy Curley.
Yeah.
And I always want to spell his name, with a C and it's K. And
sorry, Jets fans.
If you spell your name, if you spell your last name with a K, like knucklehead, I just think that's what you are. I don't see the Jets being in this game at all. No. Although last year, when the season started, it was the Tim Tebow shit show and all that, and everybody said the Jets were going to suck. And I picked up the Bills' defense because I was going to start them against the Jets, and they hung 45 on the Bills.
Well, you did the same thing.
I did the same thing this year. I got Tampa Bay's defense, but I don't think that's going to happen. If they hang 45 on Darrelle Revis,
did you hear what Geno Smith said about Darrelle Revis? He goes, I haven't studied nothing about it. Why do I need to study anything about Darrelle Revis? Let me tell you something, Junior. If you don't hit the books on Darrelle Revis, you might as well just hang up your cleats now.
Don't throw it to the left then, son.
Yeah, so so we got the Bucs on a route.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even know if this game's even going to show anything about Tampa Bay.
Sorry, Jets fans, hang in there, but this year is going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one. All right, next game, you got the Tennessee Titans heading to Pittsburgh, Heinz Field.
Man, I don't know what to think about Pittsburgh. They always seem to have a team, and their defense is got to be getting old. I mean, if it's not,
it's getting old. But here's the thing: I think about Pittsburgh is nobody's expecting much out of them, so they're going to be able to sneak up on teams. It's not like, oh shit, we're playing Pittsburgh this
why
week.
is nobody expecting anything out of them? You got Ben Roethlisberger, you got a couple of really good receivers, you got Antonio Brown and Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah,
you've got Heath Miller as a tight end. He's coming back from injury, but he's still an all-pro tight end. The guy's never let anybody down.
I think this is going to come down strictly to quarterback play, and I'll take a Ben Roethlisberger over Jake Locker.
And their
7
running
days a
back,
week.
their running back situation's a complete friggin' mess. I mean, they traded for Felix Jones. That's got to show you something. They cut John Dwyer. So
I think you're going to see a timeshare there until Le'Veon Bell gets healthy. I think Chris Johnson is going to do his 200-yard, 2-touchdown bullshit, but I think it's going to come down to quarterback play, and I'm going to have to give the edge to the Steelers, and they're playing at home.
I'm going to take Tennessee for a couple of reasons. One, I think Locker's going to give him the shits running around. He can throw the ball. He's starting to mature a little bit.
God, he's so inaccurate, though.
Yeah, but maybe he's solved that a little bit. And he's got a couple of good wide receivers, and he's got the running game to keep them honest, so they can't just.
And they made some improvements on the offensive line as well.
Again,
that was their Achilles heel last year.
And some of their key players they've gotten rid of. Yeah, they do a good job of getting rid of people at the right time. I've never really seen anybody leave Pittsburgh and go anywhere else and blow up. So
James Harrison's in Cincinnati now.
Yeah, he is, and we'll see. Maybe we'll see what he does.
So you've got Tennessee. I'm taking Pittsburgh. This is the first game we disagree on.
It's going to be like a 17-13 game.
Yeah, it's not going to be a very high-scoring affair, but I really think it's going to come down to quarterback play, and Ben Roethlisberger is he's too good.
Yep.
Next game on the docket is also might be the game of the week. Green Bay traveling into the Bay Area to face Colin Kaepernick and the Niners.
Everybody's talking about how Kaepernick blew him up in the playoff game and how they weren't prepared for
They ain't going to let that shit happen again.
Yeah, they're not going to let that shit happen again. Clay Matthews is healthy. He's ready to go.
Everybody's healthy on that team.
Their offensive line is banged up, though. They lost.
But did that slow down Aaron Rodgers last year?
No.
Now they have a running game. They have Eddie Lacy, who's a big, powerful back who could tote the ball 300 times this season if need be. That was what they were severely lacking. They would have had that if Cedric Benson didn't get hurt.
Yeah, you don't really run against San Francisco, though. The thing that Green
But you got to have the threat.
The thing that Green Bay's got to do is they got to keep trying to run it. You got to keep them honest because you've got those ball-hawking linebackers, Navarro Bowman,
Patrick
Willis. All of those guys. They got a defensive
Alden
secondary.
Smith rushing.
Yeah, and these guys are coming. They're coming.
That's the only way to alleviate the pass rush is to have a running game. I mean, even if they get 2 to 3 yards a carry, you got to be able to run the ball. And they just didn't run the ball last year. They didn't have anybody to run.
They didn't really have anybody to run. So I think Green Bay is. This is a statement game as much as you want to say that in week one, but look who they're playing. They're playing the team that's probably going to contend all season long for NFC supremacy.
Yep.
And it's at the brand new stadium, right? They're playing in the new stadium in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
This is a big game for them. They want to show some stuff. It's going to be a close game. Really is.
I got Green Bay, though. I got Green Bay winning this game only because it is a statement game, and I think the addition of Eddie Lacy and that running attack is going to be all the difference. Because Aaron Rodgers is going to do what Aaron Rodgers does.
Yeah.
He just is. But this time he's going to be upright more, and he's not going to have to rely on his arm the entire time. He's going to allow his receivers to get downfield a little bit with play action, and he's going to be able to pick apart that secondary.
I'm going to take San Francisco. I think this game's going to be, 27-24, 30-24, something like that. But I think San Francisco's actually going to pull it out. I just think they're improved. They've got Anquan Bolden now. They picked up Johnny Baldwin from Kansas City. I think it's a great pickup for them. I don't think they need Crabtree. And their defense has only gotten better. So
yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, we were talking about the ego thing with Seattle. Same thing might be happening in San Fran.
San Francisco's been walking it and talking it for 3 years now. This is only Seattle's second year. And last year they were a surprise. Nobody really knew about them. They were shit talking right from the get. And they proved that they were a formidable defense. And the year before that they were decent. They weren't great. But San Francisco's had a really solid defense for about 4 years now.
We'll see. We'll see. I got Green Bay winning this in a close one. I think it's going to be a much more high scoring affair than people anticipate because it's the two great defenses. But I got Green Bay winning. You got San Fran. Okay, next game on the docket. Arizona travels to St. Louis.
Man, in these
that's going to be a good game.
These interdivisional games right off the bat, I like it.
It's that NFC West.
Yeah, NFC West together.
They are bruising.
Well, last year Arizona didn't have an offense. They didn't
have a quarterback.
Line. They didn't have a quarterback. They went through what?
John Skelton and
they ended up
whatever
with Brian Hoyer, right? I mean,
yeah. But now you got Carson Palmer there.
Now you got Carson Palmer.
You still got Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah, you still have him. You got
Rashard Mendenhall. Maybe he does something good there because Bruce Arians did magical things with the Colts last year.
And he was always good with when he was with the Steelers.
He's always been good with quarterbacks, especially. So I think the marriage between Carson Palmer and Bruce Arians is going to be a very good thing for the Cardinals. And they had a solid defense last year.
They did, yeah.
And no help from their offense, so they can only be better, right?
Darrell Washington's suspended for the first 4 games, which kind of sucks for Arizona. But, he's not irreplaceable. They're not going to lose too much for that. They can, hold Seattle or St. Louis, rather, to some stuff on the ground. They don't have a great running game. Darrell Richardson.
He's a smaller back.
Isaiah Pete is suspended, so, you got him and, a couple other guys in the back. But it's going to be Darrell Richardson. He's going to be catching balls out of the backfield. Sam Bradford. He's starting to mature. Hopefully he's going to come into it. You got Chris Givens and a couple other weapons around him.
Well, and you got Jeff Fisher there. That guy's a
Jared Cook is a really good addition.
Yep, you've got a hell of a coach in Jeff Fisher, and I don't think they're there yet, but I think they're close. Their defense is a lot better than people think they are.
Good, yeah.
They're sneaky good. And I'm going to give this game to Arizona. And I think it's going to be a lower scoring affair than people think, but I'm going to give this game to Arizona only because of the experience and talent that they're bringing on offense.
I'm going to take St. Louis. They're at home. I think they're going to pull it off. I think their defense is going to be enough to stifle what's going on in Arizona. I don't think Arizona's going to have that good a running game. Rashard Mendenhall sucks. I mean, he just does.
He is dog shit, but he's an injury guy.
I don't think he's going to be reborn in Arizona. I think that's a wish by Bruce Arians.
But you never know. I mean,
Carson
sometimes guys go to new
quarterback,
teams,
but he has shitty games too, and so we'll see. We'll see what goes on. Cortland Finnegan is there in St. Louis, and he's tough. And
he's dirty. He's a dirty player.
If you underestimate him, he's going to pick a couple off. So
he's going to get your face and jaw at you. But the thing is, Larry Fitzgerald doesn't let shit get like
he's drinking Irish whiskey on your ass before the game.
Irish car bombs.
Yeah.
All right, next game which is near and dear to your heart, but next game on the docket is the Giants travel into Cowboy Stadium.
Yeah, and
Tony Romo and the Cowboys.
Last year was a Thursday night game to start the season. Dallas went into New York and beat them. And they did that with a less team than I think they have this year. New York's secondary is beat up, and I think that is going to cripple them because you got Des Bryant, you got Miles Austin, you got you got Witten, and
DeMarco Murray, a healthy DeMarco Murray.
He's a beast. You got a couple of decent running back options behind him.
Some offensive line improvements also. I think the signing of Brian Waters was a big thing for.
Yeah, and he's going to bring a veteran presence to that locker room, and I think he's going to help. Travis Frederick at center. I don't think that they're going to have the horsepower. I think Dallas is finally going to shed the New York curse that they've had at home.
But just like Matt Ryan in New Orleans, Eli Manning comes to Cowboy Stadium and plays like a god.
Yeah, he does.
I don't know why, but he does.
The one year I remember he beat him. It was a pass that went off of Jason Witten's foot that.
That's
it's always something that happens.
Yeah, he'll end up with 350 and a couple touchdowns, and I think I think
Romo's got too many weapons this year, and I think the Monty Kiffin defense is going to be designed to stop all those big plays.
I think I want to take Dallas in this game because of all those weapons and the maturation process that they've went through. I think Jason Garrett might be coming into his own as a head coach.
I hope so.
Well, boy, if the New York Giants offense, if they play to their potential with David Wilson and Hakeem Nicks, if he pulls his head out of his ass, Victor Cruz,
Yeah, he's got that foot problem.
Brandon
JPP
Myers,
hasn't been
the new tight end there. Eli Manning's got weapons too.
Yep.
So I don't think it's going to be so much defensive play as it is what the offenses do. And if history proves and Eli Manning goes in there and plays like fucking Zeus, then I think Dallas is going to have problems. It's going to turn into a track meet. And who knows what happens. Yeah. But I do give the edge to Dallas just because of their talent. I mean, they've got talent that performs week in and week out.
Yeah, and I just think that it's another opening game, but it's at home this time, and I think Dallas is going to take this one. I really think that they've got too much going on.
Okay, well, we agree on that one. Next game on the docket.
Monday night matchup.
Yeah, the Chip Kelly fucking Oregon bullshit run a play every 2-second offense goes to Washington.
They want to run 75 plays a game. that's 3 plays a minute. And
think about this though. Think about this. What if your offense goes 3 and out 4 or 5 times?
Your defense is
pissed
and really tired. They're only off the field for a minute.
Yeah. So you have to take that into account. But if this offense works, and I think they've got the right quarterback, they've got the right running back to make it work. But at the same time, this isn't college. This is the big show. This is the NFL.
Yeah, and you got a college coach going up against Mike Shanahan.
Shanahan against
and game management, clock management, outthinking him, outsmarting him, making changes during the game. This guy doesn't have the experience to do that. So I think that's what's going to make a difference is just the fact that Shanahan's a master at making changes.
RG3's healthy.
He's got everything to prove. I just think we're going to see a little bit of Philadelphia, but I think we're going to see a lot of Washington.
I don't think the sophomore slump is going to apply to RG3 or Andrew Luck for that matter. Those guys are just a step above.
Yeah, they were cut from a bit of a different cloth, and I think it's one of those. They're not infallible, but they're certainly better coming out than what we've seen in the past.
And they've both come into good situations. It didn't look like Andrew Luck was going into a good situation, but it turns out he did.
Yeah.
So Washington?
Yeah, I'm taking Washington.
I got Washington too. Okay. Last Monday night game, Houston Texans going to San Diego.
Man.
That is an ass whooping, I think.
Yeah, what is San Diego? What do they got?
Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, but who's he throwing it to? Malcolm Floyd, who hasn't really played much in the preseason. So
Antonio Gates, who's 178 years old.
He's got a perpetual foot problem. Mm-hmm. He was dangerous back in 2007. Everybody talks about him being dangerous, but I haven't seen it in 4 or 5 years.
And then he sprained his toe, and it's never been the same.
Yeah, and they're running him Ryan Matthews. He gets hurt coming off the bus.
When's that guy going to prove himself? I mean, they moved into the first round to draft this kid, and he hasn't done a fucking thing.
He breaks a leg. He breaks another leg.
Collarbones.
I mean, the guy he gets hurt. He gets hurt in the dressing room.
Yeah, he's
their backup is Danny Woodhead. I mean, he's kind of limited in what he can do, his play style.
I think Danny Woodhead's going to be more effective in the passing game.
Yeah, he's like a Darren Sproles.
Kind of.
I mean, same kind of thing.
He's a little scat back.
But Houston, on the other hand, everybody's worried about Arian Foster, but who cares? If he can't go, Ben Tate.
Best backup in the league.
He's as good as Arian Foster.
That guy can go to another team and start tomorrow.
Yeah, and he's in a contract year. He's not going to. This is his last year there because he's going to go and be a feature back somewhere else.
Yeah, expect to see him in Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, he rips off 1,000 yards a season just being a backup. I mean, that's crazy.
Yep. Yeah, so too much defense, too much offense. I think San Diego gets stomped.
Yeah, I don't see anything other than that happening. I think J.J. Watt is going to run roughshod over Phillip Rivers.
Yep.
He's going to bat 2 or 3 balls down.
We got Ed Reed now too.
He's not playing. Ed Reed's not active for week 1, but
Phillip Rivers ain't afraid. He ain't afraid to throw interceptions.
No,
he's proven that.
Yeah, he's not scared of that shit at all. I don't think San Diego's bringing enough to the party to match up with Houston.
I think they're outmatched and outdueled there. But that's all the games for week 1. Please.
Should be fun. I mean, it's going to be entertaining, and of course, what we're saying is going to happen, what we're thinking is going to happen. There's going to be a lot of stuff that is different than what we're thinking, and so you come into week 2 and you go, "Wow, where'd that come from?" And that's what makes the NFL so much fun to watch.
Yep. Well, there will be a link to my Twitter below, so you can follow me because I'm going to be tweeting all Sunday long about the games, and make sure you hit that thumbs up. Share this with your friends if you found any insight, or if you agree or disagree with anything we say. Drop some comments below.
Hey, yeah, do it, man. I mean, that's what makes the NFL one of the most fun things, is people can disagree, and it's usually pretty verbal. And just like the game itself, it's you can't. It's not for the faint of heart.
It is not. It is not. But thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you in our preview for week 2.
All right.